Can you do a video on his species, and did he know that Palpatine was the Sith Lord? So for context, the commenter is asking about Mas Amedda. So he came from the species called Chagrian, and yes, he absolutely knew that Palpatine was the Sith Lord. Now, during the time of the Phantom Menace, when he was seen as vice chairman, he was playing all sides, working for the Supreme Chancellor Valorum and also working with Palpatine. When Palpatine's plan to have Valorum moved under a vote of no confidence was successful, leading on to him becoming the Supreme Chancellor, at some point after his election, that's when he reveals to Mas Amedda that he is a Sith Lord. So he lets him in on his plan to destroy the Jedi and to replace the Republic with a new governing body, the Empire. He's even been present to a couple of times where Palpatine uses his Force abilities. So now let's get down to the Chagrian species. Despite their appearance, they're actually an amphibious species that hail from the planet Champala. They began life as these aquatic tadpoles. They relied on their gills before developing lungs and limbs. Though they are capable of living on land, they actually thrive underwater. They can spend extended periods submerged. But their muscular build, it suits them for swimming and labour. While their exposure to Champala's salty heavy seas dulled their tastes, this led to them using their tongues for scent detection, kind of like lizards. They would average around 2 meters in height, and the Chagrians had striking blue or indigo skin. This came from an evolutionary defense to protect themselves from their unstable sun's radiation. Now, their most distinctive features were their lithorns, their fleshy horn-like structures that frame their head. Males would possess additional upward-facing lithorns, and their keen eyesight allows them to see well in dim underwater conditions. Now, law and justice defined Chagrian society. Their strict adherence to legal and bureaucratic systems made one of them the most fairest courts in the entire galaxy. Law enforcement was meticulous, ensuring swift and thorough investigations, but most trials they were resolved pretty quickly. As Chagrians, they rarely contested charges, because denying clear wrongdoing was seen as disgraceful. I mean, it is disgraceful universally, but these guys, they took that really seriously. But despite their structured civilization, Chagrians had little interest in indulgence. Most of them only spoke in their native tongue, and they saw eating as a necessary inconvenience, often relying on nutrient capsules. So unlike other cultures, these guys, they had no traditional feasts. I mean, if they don't have any taste buds, it kind of makes sense. Now, historically, the males, they would use their lithorns as an act of dominance and even in duels. But by the time of the Galactic Civil War, such of those practices had actually been outlawed. However, they did continue to take great pride and even decorating those lithorns. Their young, who would still be aquatic at that stage, they were kept in water tanks at home until they completely transitioned into a land-based lifeform. Now, under the Galactic Empire, Champala fell under military occupation, and increased industrialization polluted their once pristine seas. Chagrians had endured this hardship with resilience, and they were torn between passive survival or active rebellion. Many of them joined the Rebel Alliance, and some would help with the liberation of waterworlds like Mon Cala. As Imperial rule tightened and tourism started to dwindle, Champala's prosperity naturally faded, but its people remained dedicated to justice, balance, and order. So the Chagrians, hope it helped.